Okay, so folks, what I have here is something that kind of snuck up on all of us, at least many of us. We were not really anticipating this. So Google went ahead and released it anyway, and this is going to be my initial review and first impressions of the all-new Google Pixel 5a 5G. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I want to start off with a major shout out to Google for sending this review unit to the studio for me to take a look and, test it out and share my genuine review with you all. This is my way of telling you that this is not a sponsored video. Everything I tell you here is literally my own opinion, my personal take on this phone here. So let's go ahead and talk about it now. I was showing you this phone here, and you can already see that it has that very familiar look, and that's simply because you may have seen me, or you may have seen my review of the Pixel 4a here, which is obviously the predecessor to this guy here. But this is just a regular Pixel 4a, and this guy's supposed to be replacing the 4a and the 4a 5G. I think it's supposed to be kind of like replacing a combo of these two phones, but there's just something about this phone that already looks very, very familiar. And this guy here is coming with only one color. It's supposed to be called the Mostly Black. That's the name of it, Mostly Black. But it has kind of a hint or kind of a tint of a green, like a dark green. I'm not sure if the camera, you can kind of see that in the camera. It has kind of a dark green there, and you can pick up this guy here for $450. So again, keeping with that same line, the Pixel A line is known to produce these very compact and phones that provide so much value. This guy, when it came out, was $350. And if you remember, if you've been following the channel for a while, then you know that this guy here was my phone of the year last year, simply because it had so much to offer at that $350 price point. Now, this guy comes around. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be my phone of the year, but it's just something about it that is something remarkable about it that just makes you really think about your finances. If you're in the market for a phone and you want to go for value, these are the types of phones that you should be going for. Anyway, I want to go ahead and kind of just, go through the phone here. We're going to start off with the back there. It's just that same familiar look. As I mentioned, you have the camera module there, and I believe this is still that same 12.2 megapixel lens there. You also have a 16 megapixel ultra wide lens. Right below that, you have the fingerprint sensor, the same as what we had on the 4a there. So you have that little spot there that's a little bit sunk so that it's easy to find, and it feels pretty smooth. Now, you know what? Before even going around the phone itself, I want to talk about just the texture of this phone. This last year was supposed to be all plastic. Well, it was all plastic, and this year you're supposed to have a more metallic frame on this phone here, but you still have that same texture that you had on the previous one. Very smooth. It's very smooth. Now, even though this is metal, you can't really feel that metal. It's just very smooth to the touch. But anyway, going around the phone itself now, looking at some of the physical features that we have here, the typical accent color, it actually has a texturized button there. You have that little texture for the power button, so you could definitely feel the difference between that and the volume rocker there. And you have the kind of a lighter green. So they always have an accent color when it comes down to that power button. Volume rocker at the bottom, of course, you have a USB Type-C plus a dual speaker setup there. You have a SIM tray on the left side there, and at the top you do have the headphone jack. So again, this phone, very utilitarian, right? You have that headphone jack that many companies are trying to get rid of, but here you still have that on this phone. Now, the selfie camera, of course, is located at the front of the phone. You have it at the top left corner of that display there. And Pixel phones are very well known for their camera, right? So they have fantastic camera for pictures specifically. Videos, they do pretty good videos, but when it comes down to pictures, oh yeah, they take that to the next level. Now, some of the pictures that I've taken so far with the main camera, I haven't taken anything with the selfie camera just yet, but with the main camera, they came out squeaky clean, right? So super sharp Nothing really that I wasn't expecting there, because even this camera on just the regular 4A is amazing. It is fantastic. So this is just pretty much doing exactly what it was expected to do here. And by the way, if this is your first time visiting the channel, well, welcome, of course. If you do like the content so far, I truly appreciate that. Please do me a huge favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button. That's a huge boost to this channel here. And again, I very, very much appreciate that. All right, so now let's get back to this phone here and talk specs and performance. At least tested it out, the few hours that I spent with it. By the way, as I mentioned, you do have this mostly black color. That's the only color that you will get on this phone here. Just like the config itself, it only comes in a single config, that is with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of base internal storage, and that is non-expandable. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. Anyway, so this is loaded with a Snapdragon, with that same Snapdragon 765G, and so far, performance seems, very, very snappy. I was navigating pretty smooth, no lags. Of course, 765G, as you would expect, is a solid mid-range. I'm even thinking it's a solid high mid-range, tier of chipsets, right? So it's very, very good so far. I guess pretty impressed, but at the same time, I was kind of expecting that same type of performance. I really wasn't thinking that it was going to be slow or anything like that. I really expected it to be just as good. The display itself, as you can notice here, is larger than the regular Pixel 4a. This one stands at 6.35, so 6.34 inches, and it's a full HD plus OLED display. The resolution here is 2400 by 1080. Again, very, very close to what we had with the regular 4A there. It is, of course, loaded with Android 11 out of the box. So once you take that out of the box, you are ready to roll with the current version of Android. Now, one of the biggest upgrade on this phone is the battery. If you remember, the Pixel 4a from last year was a little over 3,000, a little bit over 3,100 milliamp. This guy here is boasting a 4,680 milliamp on this phone here. So as you would imagine, this is literally a 2-day phone. If you had gotten a chance to play with the 4A like I did, this guy here was at least a day. On average, I was doing a day and a half. So I can't even imagine what it's going to be like on here with 4,680 milliamp. That is a large battery. Granted, the phone itself is a little bit larger than what we had before, but still, that is fantastic. That is really nice to have. Now, I am going to stop the video here. Obviously, I haven't gotten a chance to really play this phone. I just got it delivered today. I only had a chance to play with it for a few hours. I'm going to really thoroughly test this thing here and come out with my full review, my comprehensive review, like I like to call it, of this phone. So look forward to seeing that, and I'm certainly hoping that you found this video informative. Please don't forget, of course, to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, things that you would like for me to test out, make sure to put those in the comment section. I am going to catch you in that comment section, and I'm also going to catch you in the next video. And up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.